Well, good evening, everybody. David Paul with you here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. We wanted to step in and give you a complete update, a thorough look at what's going on with our landfalling tropical storm, Imelda, who actually, as of the 7 o'clock update from the Hurricane Center, has now weakened to just a tropical depression. The winds never were a threat with this storm. It's always been what's going to end up falling from the sky, the rain. You can see in Galveston, this is our live camera there, it is a rainy, somewhat stormy evening in Galveston. Dangerous surf and boating conditions. You'd expect that with tropical storm warnings in effect here this evening on the upper Texas coast and around the bay. Don't go swimming, don't go boating in this. But if you can stay off the road, stay out of the water, so far this has not been an emergency weather situation, but it's one of those that could tip over into that very, very quickly. So we'll be watching this very carefully together as we go through tonight and into tomorrow as the flood threat stays with us. On the coast, tropical storm warnings, dangerous swimming and boating conditions, significant flash flood threat. Computer models over and over again have been painting the greatest flash flood threat in the Galveston area and along the coastal areas. It remains to be seen if that is how it's going to actually play out. I think some of that heavy rain could be inland, and there are a couple of ingredients going into this that actually are in our favor as far as lowering the flash flood threat. We'll go over that in just a second. What to expect inland, it's a significant flood threat. There's just no two ways about it. These weak tropical systems, slow-moving weak systems, are notorious for dumping flooding rains on us. How much rain could we get? I think widespread, we're going to see a lot of 3 to 5 inch totals, but we're okay with that. Southeast Texas, Houston, we're dry. All the bayous are down at their bottom of their channels. At least that's where we started the day. Rivers are low as well. Most of Texas is in either abnormally dry or light to moderate drought. So we have dry ground going for us. 3 to 5 inches, not a problem. It's the isolated 15 to 25 that's possible in some spots that would be a problem. And the threat is now, I've got through Thursday. It looks like Thursday night into Friday, the rain threat may begin to taper off. So we've got 36, 48 hours to go. Imelda has had a very interesting and short lifespan. We woke up this morning with a 30% chance for a tropical depression to form. By around 11 o'clock, that had jumped to a 50% chance. And then by noon today, at noon, they named it tropical depression, a tropical depression. So that means that we had found a closed low just off the upper Texas coast. That was step one. Then at 12:45, so just 45 minutes later, it's upgraded to tropical storm Imelda with sustained winds at 40. It then almost immediately moves inland, and by 1:30, Imelda moves inland and starts to weaken. So it only had a lifespan of, well, technically about 6 hours, because as of the 7 o'clock update, that's when it was back downgraded to just a tropical depression. So only about 6 hours and 15 minutes of life as a tropical storm. Sometimes it works out that way. So this is interesting. This is our Cat 2 Hurricane Umberto, very well formed at eye. You can see how central dense overcast we have there. And then compare that to Imelda, or what's left of Imelda, tropical depression Imelda, but you can still see we've got a little counterclockwise rotation there. And we also have outflow at the top of both of these storms. That outflow is one of the things that allowed this to very quickly develop before it made landfall and began to weaken. So there's tropical storm Imelda. The center is right here. Look at how the center, everything is off to the right. That is exactly what you would expect. And that's why we've been saying watch where this storm tracks, because near the center and to the right of the center is where all of the bad flooding is going to be, or possibly will be. And that's exactly how it is setting up. Oh, and this is our drought monitor. I wanted to show you this. So we're dry in Texas. The yellow is abnormally dry conditions, which takes up a lot of southeast Texas and the Houston area. You can see the darker browns and red. You get into exceptional drought out in central Texas and north Texas, and specifically here in southeast Texas. The yellow, again, abnormally dry. This is moderate drought. So almost all of us abnormally dry, moderate drought, getting into severe drought, western Washington County. So we're starting out dry. That's good. If we're going to get a heavy rain event, it's good to start out dry. As I mentioned, the winds have never been much of a threat with this. If there is a center to it, it's right here over Fort Bend County right now. Isn't that interesting? Congratulations, Fort Bend County. You're the location of the center of what's left of Tropical Depression Imelda right now. And by the way, this is our tower camera live right now, Galleria area. That is the Williams Tower that usually goes up to about 1,000 feet with the spotlight on it, but right now it's cut off at about 500 feet because of the low cloud ceiling, all of this clouds and rain associated with what is now depression, Tropical Depression Imelda. And again, just to set your bearings in how these things work, here's the track of the center. Along that and to the right, that's where all the bad weather is. Look at how to the left of this, there's almost nothing. The dirty side. Always the right side to motion of these tropical storms. And so, but even these weak ones can bring in a significant flood threat. Now, as we look a little closer, it's widespread rain, but most of it is light. There is a pocket of moderate to heavy rain in Brazoria County, and that's why right now we have an aerial flood advisory for a big chunk of Brazoria County. So when you see the term flood aerial advisory, that's for street flooding. We're not talking about bayou flooding or house flooding. We're talking about low spots, entrance, exit ramps. The Gulf Freeway at a time today had a lot of high water spots, exit and entrance ramps. So that's for drivers to be very, very careful, especially at night. Even high water spots on the road, it could be that ditch that's got 3 or 4 feet in it, and you get off in that, and you can get in a life-threatening situation. So if you don't have to get out on the roads tonight is a good day. You got an excuse. We got a landfalling tropical system. You can stay home tonight and be safe. This is the center. Right there, that's the center of circulation of what's left of Imelda. And you can see, as we expect, you've got the center, and just to the right of the center, that's where you have the heaviest rain. So right now, heavy rain, Pearland, Friendswood, down 288 to Angleton and Alvin as well. You're included in here in that aerial flood advisory. But right now, that's the only warning we have for this. There are no tornado warnings. We don't have any flash flood warnings. One thing that is of interest, I'm going to back this up, and I'll be watching stuff like this. See this little rain band trying to form right here? Rain bands like that through Chambers County, Liberty County, if they were to last and persist for a couple of hours, could cause flash flooding there. And that's why we're going to spend the night babysitting the radar so that if anything does happen, we can break in and let you know about it. Which, by the way, reminds me, we have a brand new app. You're going to love it. It's so user-friendly. It's so easy to get information, easy to navigate to the stories that interest you. Download the new KHOU app. Do it right now. Get the old one out. Download the new one. Weather updates are just constantly coming, so you can stay on top of exactly what's happening with the storm. Also, we're going to be out early on the TV side at 4 o'clock. We start H-Town Rush at 4 o'clock, up early with you tomorrow morning. So, the forecast track. Again, the storm formed right here as a tropical storm, made landfall near Freeport, and now the center has moved right here, right over Missouri City to southeast of Sugar Land. That's where the center of the storm now sits. So if it continues on that track up through Harris County, Montgomery County, up toward Huntsville. Heaviest rain will be along to the right of the center of circulation, but the center is not one little tight little point. It's a broad area. If you look at the edges of that core circulation, that's about 65, 70 miles across. So what I've done is this. I've moved that line 35 miles to the west on the same trajectory, the same vector, and then I've boxed in everything to the right. So if you're in the box, Lake Charles, Sabine Pass, Beaumont, Liberty, Baytown, Anahuac, Mont Belvieu.
Hey, we had a Facebook issue, so Facebook viewers are just now getting on.
Oh, okay.
Let them know, like, hey.
Oh.
They just do, yeah.
Hey, Facebook, we're going to go over it all again.
There you go.
We're going to go over everything. I'll go over everything for you. Hello, Facebook. Glad we got you on board here. We're giving a complete update on the storm right now. It's been downgraded to tropical depression now, Imelda, which is good. No wind threat, but a rain threat. And so what I was just talking about is along that line and to the east, I've boxed it in. Where is the heaviest rain threat? It's right there. If you're in the box, that's where the greatest threat for heavy rain will be over the next day or two. Harris County, Galveston County, Brazoria County, Angleton, Alvin, Sugar Land, Missouri City, Richmond, Rosenberg, Waller, Cypress Spring, Pasadena, Baytown, Chambers County, Mont Belvieu, Anahuac. You're all included in that box where you could get significant rain in a short period of time. So far, so good. We haven't had any big problems, but it's something that we'll be monitoring. And since you guys just got in here, I'm going to quickly go over everything that's going on with the storm for you. I'll back it up for you guys. So there's Umberto, nice hurricane. There is our now tropical depression, Imelda. Galveston, Brazoria, Harris County are under the tropical storm warnings, but again, we've now weakened the winds and those warnings are going to be allowed to expire. Everything along and to the right of that circulation, which is centered right here, that's where the heaviest rain threat is and will be for the next couple of days. The thing we have going for us is that we're in drought. Across Texas, you can see the drought conditions widespread across central West Texas and here in southeast Texas. It's widespread, abnormally dry to moderate drought. All the bayous and creeks are started out today at the bottom of their channels, so we have plenty of room to take several inches of rain. It's just the possibility of getting 15 to 25 in some isolated spots is possible, and were that were to happen, then you would have a problem. The center of what's left of Imelda is right there over Fort Bend County. You can see the winds swirling around the center, but not that strong. 20-mile-an-hour wind at Hobby, 10 in Sugar Land, 18 in Pearland, even only 15 in Galveston. That's not bad at all. So never was this going to be a wind threat. It is a rain threat. And at the moment, the worst of the rain is right here in Brazoria County. Angleton, Alvin, Pearland, Friendswood, definitely getting in on some of the heavier rain right now. I was explaining this flood aerial advisory. When you see that until 9:15 for the green box, that just means that it's street flooding, which is at the lower end of our flash flood guidance. But remember, if you're at night and those ditches, which can be several feet deep next to some of the rural roads, if you get off in one of those, you can get in a life-threatening situation. So we urge you to stay home and stay off the roads tonight if you can, and get up early with us. At KHOU.com, we're keeping up with all the school closures, and there may be more tomorrow morning. So we'll be up early with you. You can just watch us on the app, which I encourage you to get the new KHOU app. It's brand new. We just updated it. It's fabulous. It's brand new. It's so easy to organize, find all the stories, click the notifications that you want turned on, weather in particular, so you get the latest. It's the new KHOU app. Download it right now. And the track of the center came on shore right here near Freeport around 1:32 in the afternoon. Now the center is right here, southeast of Sugar Land. Should continue on that general track. Heaviest rain will be along and to the right of the center of that circulation. So along that and to the right is where all the heavy rain is going to be. However, as we mentioned, you can see how wide that core circulation is. It's about 70 miles in diameter. So what I've done here is I've moved that arrow 35 miles to the west, half of 70. So everything to the east of that, everything in the box that I've drawn here, this is where the greatest threat for heavy rain exists. So if you're asking where is the greatest threat for heavy rain, am I included in that at home? If you're in the box, you're in the area that has the greatest threat for heavy rain, maybe flash flooding, and that includes Huntsville, Livingston, Conroe. Even though you haven't had much rain yet, as this center moves further north, you're going to get into that area that could see some of those significant rains tonight and tomorrow. Obviously, Houston, Harris County, Liberty, Anahuac, Mont Belvieu, Baytown, Pasadena, Galveston, Lamarck, Hitchcock, Texas City, yes, Angleton, Alvin, Friendswood, Pearland, Missouri City, Sugar Land, Richmond, Rosenberg, Katy, Springs, Cypress, Waller, Grimes County. You're included in that box as that center moves up toward western Montgomery and into Grimes County. Tomorrow, that's when you will have your highest flash flooding threat. And if you look at the article that we've got up on this at KHOU.com, I've got an updated timeline there. You know, tonight, Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, what I expect the threat level to be. All right, so here's our computer models going into midnight tonight. Plenty of scattered showers, a couple of embedded heavier downpours. One thing we have not seen is lightning. That's important. There's no lightning out there at the moment. That means there's no significant up and down motion, no convection. That lowers the amount of rain that gets wrung out of this saturated atmosphere. However, computers at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning are suggesting that some of this near the coast could be convective, so it could be heavier rain. And not just on the coast, it's suggesting also could see 1 or 2 heavier showers up into Harris County too. So tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, I would urge you to be with us. We'll be here early on TV. You can turn your TV on at 4 a.m. and we'll be here watching it and checking the flood threat and making sure that your commute, if you're going to go into work or school tomorrow, is safe. This is Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. You can see we may see a heavier band get into the heart of the Houston area at that point. We get into 9 o'clock Wednesday evening again, still even though the center I expect will be up in here, it's going to drag all that moisture in off the Gulf of Mexico. And because it's a tropical low, it'll help to lift it, get that convection going. And this is Thursday morning, still a chance for heavy rain, not just on the coast, but also inland. Now again, all the models are painting the really heavy rain in Galveston County, Brazoria County, Chambers County, but it doesn't mean it's set in stone. And so when we look at a forecast rainfall totals, and this is just updated, this has shifted. The 29-inch rain total that it was putting out for Galveston and moved it to 24.9 inches in Angleton, 7.7 inches in Conroe, 9 inches in Anahuac, 6 inches in Houston, 8 inches, 9 inches almost in Sugar Land. So the computer models are not this good. They're not this good. They're trying to pinpoint exactly how much rain will fall in these cities, and it's just not possible. Yes.
I was going to tell you, Brett Buffington has found some is down where it's storming along the coast.
Yeah.
He is going to power up in just a little bit if you wanted to stretch and
oh, great.
Whenever.
Yeah, let me know when he's available. So I don't know if you heard that. So we've got crews all over Southeast Texas right now. The 10 o'clock news is going to be great. Brett Buffington is in a spot. He's been in Galveston all day where he's found some flash flooding. We're going to get him live and get him in on this so I can talk to him and talk about what's going on the coast here in just a minute. Hey, just remember, I don't have IFB.
Okay, I'll let you know.
So let him know I can't hear him, all right? All right. IFB is the earpiece that goes into my ear. So again, when you look at a forecast model that is putting out, it's saying we're going to get 8-9 inches in Sugar Land, that's not set in stone. This is a suggestion. The model is saying, hey, there's enough moisture and the situation is such that we could see these 9, 10, even 20 plus totals in some spots, somewhere, anywhere from Huntsville to the coast. It's possible. But models are not that good at pinpointing exactly where that heavy rain is going to go. So I don't want to mislead you and think, we know exactly where the heaviest rain is going to be. We don't. This is one of those times where we just have to kind of take it together moment to moment, which is why you and I are here. As we look at the extended forecast, very good chance for heavy rain Wednesday, again on Thursday as well. But by Thursday night going into Friday, we begin to lower rain chances to 40%, and then back to basic end of summer weather, 20% rain chance, low 90s going into Saturday and Sunday. So this threat will come to an end. It's just going to take a little while to do so. I'm going to go over everything again, and then they're going to let me know, Randy's going to let me know when Brett Buffington is available. Now this is where Brett is. He's been here all day in Galveston. This is live in Galveston, and it's coming down. That's cats and dogs right now in Galveston. And in these heavier rain bands, you may see a wind gust of 35 or 40 miles an hour Galveston. Stay away from the water. There's no need to be on the roads. I see some folks out here on Seawall Boulevard. I hope you're going home to your safe house inside, warm and dry, on what is a messy tropical storm night in Galveston. Although, as I mentioned that, tropical storm has been downgraded to just a tropical depression now. Imelda is just a tropical depression. Dangerous swimming and boating, that goes without being said. Significant flash flood threat on the coast. And again, I say that because models have indicated that maybe it'll be the coast that see the heaviest rain. Now we'll just have to wait and see where that all plays out. What to expect inland, significant flood threat, widespread 3 to 5. We can handle that because we're so dry. But the spots that get 15 to 25, as models have suggested, that would be too much, and we would see flooding on bayous and creeks and roads where that were to occur. When is the threat? Now through Thursday. The threat lasts through Thursday. Imelda had an interesting and very short lifespan. At noon today, it was declared a tropical depression, upgraded from just a disturbance. And then by 12:45, 45 minutes later, it was upgraded to tropical storm Imelda. And then between 12:45 and 1:30, Imelda moved inland and started to weaken. So it really only had a lifespan over water of about 45 minutes. Yeah, about 45 minutes over water. That was good because conditions became very favorable very quickly for development, and it tried to rapidly explode, but it bumped into the land and everything was weakened. Let me know when we get Brett.
Okay. He's powered up now. We're just waiting for him to be ready.
Okay. We're waiting on it. So this is Umberto, Cat 2 hurricane. But you can see a couple of similarities. You can see the counterclockwise rotation around the center. And then look up top. See how we've got evacuation at the top? It's spreading out. That's way up at 45, 50,000 feet. So there's evacuation up there. You need that. That gets the air flowing through the storm and can cause it to strengthen. And as we look at Imelda, although it's a much weaker system, you can see similarities. You can see closer to the center that counterclockwise circulation. And then look up top at 35, 40, 45,000 feet. Look at the air spreading out. So that's evacuation up top. If this were still over water right here, it would probably be a hurricane right now, and we'd be under hurricane watches and warnings. But because it developed, when it finally got its act together, it's so close to the coast, it bumped into it, now it's moving inland, and it's lost its energy source, which is the warm water of the surface water of the Gulf of Mexico. So that was very good news. That definitely has worked in our favor. We are in drought across most of Texas, moderate drought in most cases. In Harris County, we've got abnormally dry conditions here in yellow. This is moderate drought. So we're abnormally dry to moderate drought, and all our creeks and streams and bayous are way down in the bottom of their channels. So we're starting at a very good dry place.
They're ready whenever you are.
Where is he?
Where are you exactly? You're in Galveston, right? Where in Galveston?
Where in Galveston? Yes.
Seawall Boulevard.
Okay, so we're gonna go live. We're gonna go live to Brett Buffington, who's live on Seawall Boulevard, where the rain is just coming down. Brett, how are conditions in Galveston on Seawall Boulevard?
Well, David, this evening you've been talking about how those bands would be in and out. There was heavy rain bands, light rain bands. I can tell you in just the last 15 minutes or so, we've experienced the most heavy rain we have for much of the day here. With heavy rain pulling into Galveston earlier this afternoon, that was certainly in the heat of the afternoon. Now it's nighttime. The sun has gone down. The wind has just died back down. It was whipping down here for about the last 20 minutes or so. We actually pulled over to this hotel, get a little cover for the camera, but you can see behind me in the lights, you certainly have a lot of rain falling here. Not an intense amount. It's not rain that the storm drains here can't handle at this point, but it has been windy and rainy, and it certainly felt more like what you would see in a tropical storm. Again, the beach line here, the coastline in this part of the state, still under that tropical storm warning tonight. As we saw earlier, not really what we would recommend anyone doing. Surfers out in the water, the surf just on the other side of Seawall Boulevard. Of course, the Gulf of Mexico is right there. The surf has been very rough throughout the afternoon, as you would imagine, with the landfalling tropical system. There were surfers out in it, but it was not hard to see the extreme rip currents that wild, choppy surf was pulling in. If you're watching our 6 o'clock live shot, we actually got a surfer riding one wave on TV, and that was probably the longest we saw anybody up on a surfboard, but even the surfers coming out and back up onto the seawall where we were told us that they were exhausted and the waves were beating them up. Again, it is raining here in Galveston tonight. We haven't heard any reports of any street flooding or anything more extreme than just the heavy rain that's been coming down in vans, like you would imagine, anyone here along the coast of southeast Texas is so used to anytime we get one of these weather events.
Well, Brett, that's interesting. And I was watching. I saw when those surfers were out there, and that surfer caught a wave for us live. And you mentioned very accurately that the waves are not coming in nice sets where you can wait and catch a wave and get a good ride. What was happening out there is what I call the washing machine effect. You just get wave after wave, and they come at different angles, and it's very difficult to catch one. And you better know what you're doing, because you're taking your life in your hands if you're going to go out on those waves in tropical storm warning conditions and try to surf. But I've covered many storms down there where you are, Brett, and I have every time I see people either surfing, or one time I saw them kite surfing in 50-mile-an-hour winds, and they were having a ball. So more power to them. You mentioned the winds. They haven't been that bad. Every now and then they'll gust, but sustained at 15 in Galveston. Hobby sustained at 26. Those are some of the stronger winds as they curl around what's left of the center of Tropical Depression Imelda. And here it is. Boy, it looks like a healthy tropical storm, doesn't it? But it's moved inland now, and it's lost its energy source, which is the water of the Gulf of Mexico. Once these systems move over land, they begin to weaken and rain themselves out, which is what we're facing with that rain threat. Still, the only thing in town as far as a warning is in Brazoria County. It's right there, and that is what we call an aerial flood advisory. Right in here, that's for street flooding. But Pearland, Friendswood, you're getting some pretty heavy rain right now. Would not surprise me if you had a few high water spots on some of the roads there right now. But right now it's not an emergency. Just be careful out there and you'll be fine, or stay inside even better. This circle I've drawn is the loosely defined center of the circulation right now. It's right over Missouri City, just southeast of Sugar Land. That's the center of what's left of Tropical Depression Imelda. You can see, though, we are getting a pretty heavy rain band. That's what was getting Brett wet coming across Galveston right now. Again, not causing any widespread flooding. And one of the other good things we've had going for us today is that we did not get hot. High temp stayed in the low 80s today. When we had tropical storm, not Alicia, but Allison, tropical storm Allison flood us in 2001. Those of you who were here for that, I certainly was. During that afternoon, we had gotten to 98 degrees. We had all that heat energy, and what happened was that caused violent thunderstorms once that system came in. We're not having any thunder at all with this tonight. There's no lightning at all. That tells us that although there's rain, it's not deep convection. It's not up and down through the storm, and that lowers the rainfall rate, and that's very important in where we are right now. We're not in an emergency at the moment. It's just rain. Hopefully it will stay that way and won't get too heavy overnight. So there's the center's track so far, and I expect the center to continue on that track. Heaviest rain will be along to the right of the center of that circulation. You can see it's a broad circulation center that's about 70 miles across. So I'm going to bump that line to the edge of the center, the core circulation, and then everything in this box off to the right of that center line is where we'll have the greatest threat for heavy rain. So Beaumont all the way to Lake Charles, yep, you're included in that threat for heavy rain. See the heavy rain bands off here? From time to time, they could cause you some flash flooding. Beaumont, Liberty County, Spring, Woodlands, Conroe, Waller, Cypress, Sugar Land, Katy, Pasadena, Baytown, Pearland, Friendswood, Richmond, Rosenberg, Alvin, Angleton, Galveston, Lamarck, Texas City, Hitchcock. Everybody in the box. That's where the threat for heavy rain will be over the next 2 days. This is just day one. As this moves further north, then Montgomery County and Walker County, Huntsville, Navasota, Grimes County, Livingston, Polk, San Jacinto County. You will have the threat for heavy rain as we go into tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning. That's why I'm urging everybody to just leave your TV on 11 when you go to bed tonight so that it's on when you get up in the morning. We'll be on at 4:30, and we'll have all the updates as to what's happening on your roadway and your commute. And I say it again, we have a new KHOU app. It's new. It's updated, it's smooth, it's Quicksilver. You'll love it. Download it right now while you're thinking about it and get the new one. And then put on notifications so that you'll get the overnight and morning updates on the weather. Here's the future radar forecast. This is midnight tonight. Lots of rain around, especially on the coast. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to be okay overnight, except for maybe one or two very isolated spots. This is 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. I'm concerned about that. If that develops a little further inland, and you see it is suggesting there may be one or two strong storms in Houston, Harris County, that could cause flash flooding now that the ground is beginning to get a little more saturated. We stay with a heavy rain threat through Wednesday, 1 o'clock. Stay with a heavy rain threat through 9 o'clock Wednesday night. Stay with a heavy rain threat through 5:30 a.m. This is Thursday morning. And then after that, hopefully things will settle down. And we talked about this as well. Take these rain total forecasts by our computer model with a grain of salt. This is a suggestion. It's modeling the atmosphere, and the computer algorithms are running, and based on what we know about the atmosphere, it says, yeah, it's possible that in spots you could get 9 inches of rain now through Thursday morning. 24 inches of rain in an isolated spot is possible now through Thursday morning. But it's not good enough. Computers are not smart enough to be able to actually pinpoint and say, yes, Angleton's going to get 24.9 inches of rain. It's a suggestion. It may be overdone. It may be that heavy rainfall total ends up offshore or further north or west. So that's why we're monitoring this so carefully, because the models are telling us over and over again that it's capable of producing that type of rainfall, but the models are not smart enough to know exactly where that's going to be in the exact timing in a situation like this. So that's why we're monitoring it carefully. Okay, one last time. Here's the extended. So heavy rain threat Wednesday and Thursday. Begins to taper down on Friday. We go back to summer Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and probably Tuesday of next week. There's the update on what's been a very interesting day with Tropical Storm Imelda now back down to tropical depression. Everything updated, all the models, everything I've shown you, radar warnings and such, on the 11 News tonight, on KHOU 11 News at 10. So on the TV side, make sure you join us. And then when you go to bed, leave it on TV, leave it on channel 11, just turn it off. So when you get up in the morning, turn it on, we're right there. We're on the air early. It will be 4 a.m. through the morning to monitor the situation so nobody gets caught off guard. Right, so we'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock on the TV side for a complete update.